Yeah, that's better than what much you get. Yeah, but then you gotta
I don't know anything. Which one could help me?
Hiya, I heard you need some help studying.
Who are you and where'd you come from?
I am.
We're in the library.
Oh, right. Like I was saying, I am internal respiration woman.
Internal respiration woman?
Rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? Just call me Ida. And this is external respiration girl.
Just call me Eve.
And we are here to help you study for your respiratory test tomorrow. Any questions?
Yeah. Actually, how did we get here and where is here? And I don't really...
None? Good. Let's start with the function of the respiratory system. The overarching function of the respiratory system is to transport air to and from the lungs and to facilitate the diffusion of oxygen into the bloodstream. Also included in this system is the mechanism of breathing.
Okay.
There are two main parts of the respiratory system, internal and external.
External respiration includes the exchange of gases between the atmosphere and the blood.
Well, internal respiration includes the exchange of gases between the blood and the cells of the body.
External respiration happens prior to internal respiration. One way to remember this is that I am older than Ida.
Yeah, well, we're not here to discuss age, Eve. We're here to help her study. During the respiratory system, excess carbon dioxide is removed from the body because high levels of it can be very toxic.
Okay, I get that. But what's the difference between the two types of respiration?
Okay, we should probably show her how it all works as we explain it. I know I'd be confused if I were in her position.
You're right, Eve.
You'll get used to it
How often she does do this?
every single day.
I got it.
External respiration first begins here, in the nose and the mouth. Air first enters the nasal cavity, which has mucous membranes that moisten the air so it doesn't damage the tissues inside the body, and has cilia to trap inhaled particles. The air then enters the pharynx, which is a tube that is located at the back of the nasal cavity and the mouth. It has two passageways, for food and for air, and leads to the trachea.
What is this?
That's epiglottis. It's a flap of cartilage that prevents food from going into the trachea and allows air to pass into the trachea. The trachea itself is a cartilaginous tube that is about 10 to 12 centimeters long. It has ciliated cells that trap particles and sweep them away from the lungs towards the throat.
At the upper end of the trachea is the larynx, or what we call the voice box. Sounds and words are produced when air is forced past the vocal cords. The trachea branches off into two bronchi, which have smooth muscle and cartilage that are lined with cilia and mucus. Both lead to a lung. As you can see on the diagram, this bronchus leads to the right lung and this bronchus leads to the left lung. Both of the lungs are located in the thoracic cavity. This is where gas exchanges occur.
Fun fact about the lungs, the right lung is slightly larger than the left lung. Also, studies have shown that lungs are the only organs to flow in water.
What the heck? What kind of studies test the buoyancy of human organs?
Scientific ones.
Right. Anyway, the bronchi then branch off into smaller tubes. The smaller tubes are called bronchioles, and the smallest of the tubes branch off the bronchi, and they lead to the alveoli. The alveoli are clusters of tiny air sacs that are covered with capillaries. Gas exchange occurs here and happens between the alveoli and the blood in the capillaries. Oxygen moves into the bloodstream while carbon dioxide moves into the alveoli to be eliminated from the body.
Oxygen in the lungs first cross the alveolar membranes and then the capillary walls to get to the blood to dissolve in it. In basically the reverse order, carbon dioxide first crosses the capillary walls and then the thin alveolar membranes to get to the alveoli.
Both of these movements occur by diffusion. The more surface area there is on the alveoli, the higher the rate of diffusion is.
Once oxygen gets diffused into the blood, most of it combines with hemoglobin in the red blood cells, and only a small amount of oxygen remains in the plasma. Each hemoglobin molecule can carry up to 4 oxygen molecules.
Carbon dioxide, on the other hand, generally leaves the body in the form of bicarbonate ions. These ions combine with hydrogen ions to form carbonic acid, which is diffused out of the capillaries.
2, 1, go.
Do you understand all of this? I know it's a lot to take in.
Yeah, I think so. But what about internal respiration? And you never told me the differences between each.
How could I forget? I'm internal respiration woman. Internal respiration happens within the cells of the body and uses oxygen to break down the molecules for energy, or adenosine triphosphate, ATP. There are 2 kinds of internal respiration: anaerobic, which does not use oxygen, and aerobic, which does. Aerobic respiration occurs in 3 stages: glycolysis, the Krebs cycle, and the electron transport chain.
Oh geez, I remember learning about this. This gives me war flashbacks.
Most organisms use aerobic respiration, not anaerobic respiration, because anaerobic respiration does not provide enough ATP to continue going.
Thank you, Ida. Water and carbon dioxide are the waste of internal respiration, and this is the carbon dioxide that is removed from the body during external respiration.
There are many differences between external and internal respiration. For example,
External respiration involves breathing.
while internal does not.
There is gas exchange in external respiration.
While in internal there isn't.
Another example of the differences between these 2 types of respiration are that external respiration can never occur without oxygen.
While internal can.
Alright. This makes sense. But what about breathing? I know the mechanism of breathing is definitely going to be on the test.
Breathing moves air into and out of the lungs. To do this, a muscle called the diaphragm is used.
Inspiration is the process of taking air in, and expiration is the process of releasing air.
During inspiration, the diaphragm contracts and moves downward to allow more air to enter the lungs. The rib cage also expands during this time. During expiration, the diaphragm relaxes and moves upward, and the rib cage contracts. When air pressure outside the body is greater than inside, the body takes in air. When it's the reverse, the body releases it.
These differences in air pressure force the air out until the pressures are equal.
The rate of breathing is controlled by the brain and the brainstem, as it monitors the concentration of carbon dioxide in the blood. The nerve cells are stimulated when there's a high concentration of carbon dioxide in the blood, and once triggered, it stimulates the diaphragm to increase the rate and depth of breathing.
Thank you, Ida. When there is a lower concentration of carbon dioxide in the blood, the brain sends a signal to slow down the breathing rate.
I remember reading somewhere that the breathing rate in children is higher than in adults.
Yup, that's true. The average amount of breaths per minute for school-aged children is 18 to 30, while in adults it's only 12 to 18.
Wait, but how can people hold their breath underwater? Wouldn't the brain be sending massive signals out?
Well, yes, but people can override this control at any time until losing consciousness. Once unconscious, the brain stem takes over and normal breathing continues.
Okay. This makes sense. I think I'm getting it.
It's important to note that the respiratory system is vulnerable to airborne microbes and outside pollution. This is often why people develop rhinitis and the common cold. They're exposed to irritating chemicals in the air.
Colds and allergic rhinitis both cause nasal passages to become swelled and clogged with excess mucus. Histamines, or chemicals released by cells responsible for allergy symptoms, play a major role in allergic immune responses.
In seasonal allergic rhinitis, symptoms result from immune responses to a substance. It's 4 o'clock! You know what that means!
No I don't.
It's time to play Guess That Disease.
Wait, what?
Welcome to Guess That Disease, the only game show that lets its contestants guess the respiratory disease or disorder based on the descriptions given for a chance to win $5,000.
Wait, really? Awesome.
In Monopoly Money,
Oh, that's awesome.
The first disorder.
this disorder is caused by pathogens and voice overuse. It is an inflammation of the vocal cords, and it interferes with or even completely prevents normal vibration of the vocal cords. Common symptoms include hoarseness and a lack of voice.
Is it laryngitis?
Correct! You're up 100 points. Eve, give her the bonus question.
Fine. How long does acute laryngitis typically last?
2 weeks?
Yes, you get 100 bonus points. The next disorder.
This disorder is caused by bacteria and viruses, and it's the inflammation of the alveoli. The inflamed alveoli fill up with fluid and dead bacteria, greatly decreasing the external respiration rate. The symptoms and conditions include fever, chills, and pain. There are 2 types to this disorder, acute and chronic.
Ooh, I heard this one. Is it pneumonia?
Correct again. 10 points to Gryffindor. Another bonus question. What are some ways of preventing pneumonia?
Aspirin?
Nope. The simplest way to prevent pneumonia is by getting vaccinated. But you can also prevent it by having a good hygiene and having a strong immune system.
The next disorder is the common chronic inflammatory disease of the airways. It is caused by genetic and environmental factors. It is often diagnosed by its common symptoms, including wheezing, coughing, chest tightness, and a shortage of breath. The attacks because of this disease can range from almost harmless to extremely severe, and sometimes can be stopped by the use of an inhaler.
Is it emphysema?
Nope. Actually, this is asthma.
But what's the difference?
We'll tell you the difference.
Emphysema is a condition in which the alveoli are damaged. It causes a shortness of breath, and the rupturing of the alveoli can create much larger holes instead of smaller ones. It can be caused by air pollution, tobacco and marijuana smoke, and chemical fumes. People who have emphysema are also more vulnerable to heart problems and other lung problems.
Do I get points for this?
No, the knowledge is a prize in itself.
This next one is a cancer.
This cancer is the second most common cancer for both men and women and is mainly caused by cigarette smoking and air pollution. There are 3 main types of this cancer: carcinomas, lymphomas, and sarcomas. Carcinomas develop in the bronchi or alveoli, lymphomas develop in the lymph nodes, and sarcomas develop in the lungs. This cancer can be treated by chemotherapy, radiation, or surgical removal.
I believe this is lung cancer?
Yup, that's correct. You win the game.
Do I get my Monopoly money now?
Nope, you'll receive your money in 6 to 8 weeks while we sort out tax deductions.
Congratulations! I think it's about time that we take her back to the library.
Not yet. I still want to go over some myths about the respiratory system. One huge myth about the respiratory system is that it's synonymous with breathing, when in fact it's much more than that. As we explained, respiratory system is not only the intake and output of oxygen, but also the diffusion of oxygen into the bloodstream.
Yep, I know that now.
Another myth about the mechanism of breathing is that it's triggered by being too low in oxygen, when, as we've explained, it's actually triggered by being too high in carbon dioxide in the bloodstream.
Look, Ela, Ira, Ida, whatever your name is, I really appreciate what you're doing, but she's right. I need to get back to the library. My mom's picking me up at 5.
I suppose you're right.